Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Angela and here I make whimsical themed resin home decor, trinkets and accessories, as well as whimsical acrylic painted wood plaques and coasters. So today I'm making a video about my opinions on markets, just some tips and advice from my point of view only. I can't speak for anyone else. I've been doing craft markets now for about 3 years, so I've gained quite a bit of experience and knowledge on the things that work for me and my products. It might not be the same depending on what you sell and where you live. I live in Scotland, in Ayrshire, on the west coast of Scotland, and most of our craft markets we have indoors. A short window in the summer, you maybe have some outdoors, but I've never did an outdoor market. So my opinions, advice today is purely based on the markets I've done, which are craft markets local to myself in Ayrshire, and they're normally indoors. So I'm just going to get straight into it, and I've just, like, if you see me kind of looking down, sometimes I'll try not to spin it out too much. I've just made a little list to keep me on track, because I do tend to like wander off track and ramble a bit sometimes, just to keep me on track. So you've signed up for your first craft market, or you're thinking of signing up for your first craft market. So what do you need, and what are you thinking about that you need to buy? So first thing we're going to start off with is equipment. So you're going to need something to put your products on. So buy a table. So most of the tables, the craft markets I attend, you'll get them normally. Your standard table would be a 6 foot by 2 feet, but sometimes when the table's provided for you, which in most cases it is provided to the craft fairs that I've attended. I've had an odd one where I have got my own table. Sometimes they're a good bit smaller. It can be maybe only 5 feet and quite narrow as well. So you've always got to bear in mind, if the equipment is being provided, speaking about the chairs, and not so much chairs but a table, then you might not exactly be 6 feet. Anyway, so you're talking about a table. Sometimes you're allowed a smaller table on front. In front of your big table, that would normally be like a 3 feet, maybe by, I'm not sure the width, but so you can sometimes have a smaller table in front. You can have possibly shelves at the side of your table, or what else, like little I think what else was there? What have I written down here? Racks. Yeah, shelves or racks. So or you can have like a rail if you sell clothes or bags or something. But in a lot of craft markets here, you're not allowed, you're not able to have anything other than the space of your 6 foot table, just because the space and your tables are normally quite close together. The craft markets here, if it's say in a church hall or a school gymnasium, you're not going to have a lot of space. So yep, if you're lucky enough to have a bit of space and you're allowed a wee extra rack or shelf, that's really good. But if you're not, so you're just working with your 6 foot table. So that takes us on to what you need. As well as your table, you're going to need a tablecloth or a table cover. You can have one that is not fitted. The requirement for most markets is you have to cover the front of your table completely, so your things under your table, like your boxes and your bags, can't be seen by customers coming in, and just so it looks like more presentable, neat and tidy. And the second thing, so number 2 on my list I have got, is display stands. So if you're just starting out and you're obviously trying to keep costs low, because it can rack up very quickly when you're going to a craft fair, things you're going to need. So you're just going to want to start off small, but you've got to think about your display stands, what your display is going to be like, and what stands you might need. And you only need 1 or 2 really to get started. It doesn't need to be anything fancy, because you're always going to work on your display. You're going to always improve it. If you decide you like craft markets after your first one, you're always going to work on it. If ever evolving your display in a market, because sometimes your products are ever evolving, and you just get better at like working out what sells better, and what looks better, and you also can get ideas when you're at markets what other people use and things. So I would say don't get a lot to start with. Just start off with maybe 1 or 2 small displays, and just to really lift your products off the table, so they're not lying flat. If you've got things elevated, your products, people are going to be able to see them especially if it's quite busy, or from a distance coming in. Say you're maybe situated at the back of a room and you're not maybe in a good spot. I say that lightly because sometimes you don't always get a good spot. Sometimes it's just your luck where you're randomly placed. But if you've got your products elevated and they can be seen from a bit of a distance, that's a really good start. And if you can catch someone's eye that likes what they see, they're going to have more chance they're going to come over and look at what you've got. I've got a couple of wee display stands here just as an example. As I say, you don't need much to start with, and you can buy them fairly inexpensively. I've got most of my things off Amazon. Maybe it's a really little basic one to start with. You could put bookmarks in this, you could put anything. And this was actually out of, I think this was B&M or Home Bargains, and it's actually for toiletries, but it's a cute little, or makeup, but you can put anything in it. I think I sometimes put my little pocket hugs in there, or I can put my magnets, anything that stands up, even cards, although it's maybe a wee bit shallow for cards, but anything. Let's see what can, and it's got a little bit at the front there, but that's just a wee example. If you want, there's one just slightly bigger, so you could set maybe candles on that. Depends what it is you're selling. Little figures, because I sell like resin decor items and trinkets, I set little pots, little teddy bears, little figures, just like jewellery boxes, just different things. And again, that one was off Amazon. And you've also got to think about the size of your displays. You don't want them to take up the whole table. So I tend to, these kind of ones, I would put them more to the back of my table, and other things that can lie flat at the front, just so you're getting some elevation, but you can stick that right at the front of your table, because then you're not getting the space, you're not utilising all your space. So, and if you sell cards, this is probably quite a good one, or like art prints or something. I actually use, I've got 2 of them, but I only use one now just because I've got other display stands. This was one I got off Etsy. This is like handcrafted or handmade, whatever. You just order it and the man makes them, and they're really good quality. That just needs pushed in a bit. So these really elevate your products. These can sit right at the back of your table, and in these I have resin plaques, and resin hearts, memorial hearts, and different things. And it really, from a distance, is really quite professional. Looks really nice, and and it's good for displaying. So that's just a couple of examples, and I've just got one. Just quickly show you this one. If you sell keychains or anything like that, there's loads of options for hanging keychains or jewellery. Lots and lots of options, and I get most of my things off Amazon, I would say. This is quite heavy, this one. This is a rotating keychain stand, or you could use it for jewellery. This is some of the accessories, just I use my keychains on it, alphabet letters. So that's just an example, and that doesn't take up a lot of room in the table, but you've got to like think about things like, if you've got that sitting at the front of your table, what's it obstructing behind it? Because it's fairly full and it just sits fairly high, so you're going to want something maybe a bit higher behind it, or just have it sitting where it's not going to be an obstruction. So that's just a couple of examples of that. And as time goes on, though, you'll work out your table, all your display, you'll always work on it. You might you'll build up your displays over time, so it's not something that you rush out to do, and you don't want to do that, because you might actually find markets aren't for you. They're not for the faint-hearted, and that's not to put you off. They're a lot of work physically, mentally, and socially. draining. As much as if you enjoy them, you enjoy them. I really enjoy markets, find them fun, but they're also like really hard work and quite draining. Yeah, so just start off small, see how you go, and if it's something you think you're going to pursue and enjoy, then yeah, by all means, build up your display and always work on it. I'm still working on mine. So what's the next thing on my list? I've got one of the most important things, if not the most important thing I've got, is pricing. So clear pricing. You want to have clear pricing, as clear as you can, on either individually on your products, if they're maybe all different, but if they're similar collections, you can have like one little maybe price stand plaque or a little blackboard. You can buy little blackboards and stands off Amazon. So I've been to a lot of markets and I've seen a lot of stalls, and they'll maybe have like, and in fact I think I started off my sale with a lovely price list, and it can be laminated, it can the lovely frame look really nice, and yeah, that's great, but you're the one that knows what your products are. Your customer who's coming and looking at everything on your table at a glance, and they'll obviously come over, and it can be quite intimidating going over with somebody standing and you're going over to look at products. I don't know about other people, but you just kind of feel there's maybe a wee bit of pressure to buy when you walk over to a stall. I know I feel like that anyway, so I can empathise what customers will feel like. So if they come over and all they're looking at is a big price list, and they're not going to know what is a trinket box. They're looking, and a lot of things can look like trinket boxes, so they don't know which one they're looking at. So I would say, by all means, have a price list, but also clearly price your items. You can do it by group. For instance, my little keychains, I wouldn't price them individually. I do have a little blackboard that slots in there. It's just in my packaging just now, and that will say the price on the top here. And I sell these for £3 or 2 for £5. No, but that's irrelevant anyway. So clear pricing. Just take my note here. And I would spend time, a lot of time doing this. This is another thing. If you have got items that are the same, but if you start splitting them up all over the table, but you've only got one like sign made for them, you need to think about that, because then you're going to need 2 or 3 signs to sit beside them, or in which case you can just start pricing them individually. So a lot of my items, if they're just like one-offs, underneath them you can use like little sticky price tag, just little tiny little price things, and put them under it. Or if you prefer one like this, you can just buy these a little bunch and write the price and just tie it on. But definitely that is one of the most important things, to have clear pricing. It can make the difference between someone coming along looking at your products and absolutely loving them, really, really interested, but if they don't see a price, I would say not saying, can't speak for everyone, but a lot of people will not ask the price. It will put them right off. They either think it's too expensive, that's why there's no price on it. They won't ask about it. And also myself, I would know if I go to a stall, if I don't see a price, even if I really like it, I'll walk away, because I don't like asking the price of things. Personally, I don't like to ask the price and then I don't buy it, because then it means it looks as if it's maybe, I think it's not worth that, or if it's too expensive. So yeah, just don't leave it to the person to have to ask the price, because it can lose a sale for you. So it's definitely worth to think about properly pricing all your items, because to customers it's not always obvious from your price list what's what on your table. So the next thing I've got is, so we've got card reader, cash. So when I go to markets, most of my payments are taken by card. So I have a card reader. I have a SumUp card reader, which is great. It works via an app which you download on your phone, and it's just so simple. It's so easy to use, even for me, because I'm not like technology minded at all. But I can cope with the SumUp. It's easy. It's just straightforward. You just have your little SumUp reader. I don't have it sitting here, but you just hand that, or you can have it sitting at the front of your table, and before your customer swipes or inserts their card, you just type the price into your phone on your app, and it'll come up the price on your reader, and then your customer just uses their card to swipe it. I also take cash. I take about £70 in cash. So in Scotland, we're working with pounds, and that would be made up of maybe £20 to £30 in coins, because a lot of my items are kind of small, and I do get like maybe handed over a lot of £5 notes, maybe for something like £3 or £10 notes. But I mean, I'm always having to give like £2 or £1 change, so I go through my coins quite quickly. And maybe about £4 or £5 notes. I don't need any 20s because I've never been handed a £50 note. So maybe a couple of 10s, 4 5s, and £20 to £30. That'll maybe come up with £70 float. But yeah, I like to take enough cash as well, because sometimes I've got a lot of kids coming up with their pocket money and things to buy like my kind of smaller items like bag charms and keychains and things. So I like to have a good variety of cash payment options. So my next thing I've got on my list is I have got packaging. So you're going to want to have obviously bags and packaging if people are buying anything, which hopefully they will, from your stall. So all you need to start out with is maybe just 20 to 30 little bags. I've got a couple of sizes. Again, I buy them off Amazon relatively inexpensively, for maybe like 20, 30 of these. 25, 30, I think they were maybe like $14.99. It can last a while, so I've got that size. I don't have many of those left, but I've got a bigger size, and for my items, these are definitely big enough. I also have I've got these are just little sandwich bags. These are maybe for just little keychains and things, things that don't need wrapped. And I've also got little cellophane bags. The cellophane bags are a good idea, but obviously not environmentally, but for like your items to go in, and then if the customers are walking about the market holding them, you might get people asking, where did you get that from? Or if it's a see-through bag. So that's something to think about. On my bags, I also have my little sprinkly logo. And I make these on my mum bin label printer, so I just use the little stickers that come with it, and I put these on each of my bags. And in each bag as well, you don't need this of course to start with, but if you've already got it or thinking about it, if you've got little business cards made, again, these were relatively inexpensive. I get them off Vistaprint, and these are my old ones. I've made some new ones because my social handles have changed. I don't have a website anymore. I have my Etsy shop, and I'm now on TikTok. I have my YouTube, my Instagram, and my Facebook, my email. So this is a kind of older one, but still got my logo on it. I put one of these in each of the bags. Excuse me. But this is not something you need to start with. You can also, so I've got the bags. You've got your bags, also tissue paper. Let's have a wee look here. You can also have your tissue paper. I wrap up more delicate resin items in tissue paper. And I've also got some bubble wrap as well. And I've lost a page. What's under here? Right, so the next thing is to have a little handy box with you. So my handy box includes things like scissors. It's got sellotape dispenser. No, that's not the box. In the box, I've got a sellotape dispenser that comes in my packaging. So I've got like things like scissors, string. What else? I've got a little screwdriver. I've got hooks. I've got price tags, additional price tags, pens, notepads. Just things that might come in handy, because when you're doing your display, you never know sometimes what you're going to need, or if something malfunctions, you've got to try and fix something, or sometimes your neighbour next to you has forgotten something, like they need scissors, or they need a bit of string to fix their sign, or something, their banner. So it's good to also have a little handy bag so you can help out your neighbours round about you. And you can also have a banner for your table. I got my banner made at Vistaprint. It was only about £15. It's just a vinyl banner, and I attach it to the front of my table. I will try and insert a picture here, and that's attached to the front of my table. It's got my logo on it. Again, I had that a while ago, so I'll probably need to update it soon with my new handles on it. But I just make sure I'll give one of my updated cards out in a bag if I'm selling anything. And so if you're ordering the vinyl, a vinyl banner, if you're planning on attaching it to the front of your table, I would advise to get one with the metal grommets, because, or even if you're using it as a backdrop where you can put string through and attach it to something at the back, or if you've got a tent, you can attach it to the poles. Myself, I use large safety pins, and I just attach that to the tablecloth behind the banner, and it usually sits fine once you centre it. And then you just put, need to be a large safety pin, so the type of safety pin you would use maybe for a kilt pin, and yep, they work perfectly. But you don't need a banner straight away. Again, I would wait until you try it out and see if you enjoy the market, if you enjoy doing them, because they're not easy, and especially when you first start out, you might not make many sales, and that might put you off. So again, it's just something you can think about for the future. You want to take some snacks, take yourself drinks and fruit, whatever it is you like to eat during the day to keep you going. Something that's not going to be messy though, that you can just maybe take a couple of bites, sandwich, whatever, and then put it down, because you're always guaranteed, well, I know I am, every time I go to eat anything or take a bite of something, somebody comes to your table and you don't want to be caught eating because it doesn't look very professional. So you just want to be able to have something you can just pick up and then put down. It's not going to make a mess or go over your hands. And then that, the same note, maybe have a little hand wash where you can just even just clean your hand quickly, or maybe let the customer see you just clean your hand before you go to wrap their item, the pick, if they've seen you eating or drinking something. And also on the topic of drinks, from my own experience, I don't take anything fizzy, because I just seem to be jinxed at markets. Every market, or most markets I think I've ever went to, where I've had a fizzy drink, when I open it, they just explode and go everywhere. So I've had it go all over the floor, run into my neighbour's space, and had to use my scarf or whatever I've got handy to let mop up, and then you're left with a sticky floor for the rest of the day. I've had it go over myself. I've had it go in my eye. I'm completely jinxed with drinks at market, so I stick to still drinks or water, and even then when I open the bottle, I don't know, there's just something about me and drinks at market, they don't go together. But take something definitely to keep you going, and a lot of places you go, they'll maybe sell coffee and things like that. But you might, I don't know, if you're doing it yourself, like me, I do a lot of things myself. I tend to limit my drinks, because I don't want to make too many toilet trips, because then you're maybe having to ask your neighbour beside you to keep away on your table, and if they're busy, it might not be that easy for them to do it. But most of the time, you'll have nice neighbours. If you make the effort to be friendly when you're setting up and say hello, you'll end up being very friendly for the rest of the day and helping each other out in different ways. Say you've forgotten something, you can ask your neighbour, do you have kind of a loan of pen or scissors, just anything at all like that. Talking of pens, I also make a little note of myself. So I've got a little notebook, and just so that, because sometimes when you're doing it, you just forget, maybe if it's busy, or even if it's not busy, sometimes the opposite, sometimes you don't even remember things that you've sold. So it's a good idea to write down your sales when you get a chance. So when you go home and after it, you're kind of recovered, you can look and see what were good sellers at that particular location, what didn't sell well, because you may find you'll have a different audience, different places you go. So if you sell different products, it's good to know what ones to take, because you're not, if you sell a lot of different things like myself, you're not going to be able to display everything if you've only got a 6-foot table. So sometimes you need to be selective in what you're taking, depending on what your audience is going to be and what the kind of demographics, like age group. If you're going to somewhere where people are known to be more affluent, you're going to think, well, they're going to expect them to have more disposable income. But that's not always the case. It just depends. So just be mindful of that as well. So take something to do, like I usually take something crafty with me, because there's nothing worse than approaching a table and someone is just standing over you, and it's fine to say a quick hello to your, and I'll say hello back, a wee smile and a nod, and that's great. And if they leave me be, I'll have a good wee look, and I'll usually end up buying something. But if I go over to a table, and I know a lot of people don't like to be pounced on, you don't want to be too salesy or pushy. Just a friendly hello. If you've got a customer approaching, a friendly hello, hi, how are you? Feel free to have a browse, pick anything up, and if you need any help, I'm here, just give me a wee shout. That's all you need, and then you can just go on with what you're doing, and put the person at their ease. But everyone's different. Some people might not agree with that, and they might think you need to be more proactive in selling their products. And right, but that's my approach, and I know that works for me, because the times that I've just left people to browse, just say hello, and yeah, they're coming up and handing me things to buy, and I've not had to push them or sell anything. They're quite happy to pick it up and have a wee browse and look themselves. I've had in the past, I've had customers look for a good while, and sometimes you think, I wonder if they've been even buy anything. And yeah, a lot of times, yep, they've maybe handed me, I don't know, like maybe half a dozen, like 6 or 7 things. So you just give people time to kind of have a wee look, and don't be too pushy. And it helps if you look busy, like if you've got a wee something to do. Depends what it is you do. You might not be able to do anything. Say if you make candles, or like I make resin, and also paint. So it's a wee bit awkward doing things like that. But I also do little things like keychains, so I can sit and put keychains together. Just make it look as if you're doing something. Or you don't even need to be doing that. You could be putting these on your bags at the time if you've not had time to do it beforehand. Or you could be putting your business cards in the bags. You could just be tidying up behind. Just make yourself look a bit busy after just saying a wee quick hello. So just be friendly, smile, and just let people have a wee look at your table. That would be my advice. And the last thing I would say is to just try and enjoy it. Yeah, it's hard to enjoy if you've not made any sales, but there's other things to be gained from doing a market. Obviously, that's one of the most important things, is to make sales and sell your product. But you can also get your name out there. You can make connections. You can hear about your vendor friends. You can hear about other markets in other areas that might sound good. And you can gain experience, find out what works, what doesn't work. So the next market you go to, you can improve. You can take the things that might sell. You can sort of rearrange your table, put things to the front that maybe people didn't get to see because they're too far back. Just try different things and see what works. And it's always a good idea as well to, if you've got the time. I don't really have a lot of time. A couple of times I've did it, but to have a mock up before you go of your table, so that when you get there, you know what you're doing. You don't want to go to the market. In fact, I should have probably put that in one of the most important things, is really kind of know what you're doing with your display, because most of your craft markets, most of mine are an hour to set up. Some are an hour and a half, and I struggle big time to set up in an hour. It's not a lot of time at all. So and that's me even knowing what I'm going to be doing. But you can even draw a little diagram, work out. So you see you've got your 6 foot, but always accounting it might not be 6 foot, it could be 5. So I always try and just work with a 5 feet in my head. And I know roughly what size my displays are. So if I've bought some new things, I'll just do little diagrams, or like just little plans, try and work out what I'm going to put where. If I've got time, great, I'll use my kitchen table. But usually my kitchen table is just full of other things, and it would be a lot of work just to get it all off and then get everything on. But I have done it in the past when I first started doing markets. I did do a lot of mock setups, and they are really helpful. And you can even take photographs of them, and then take them with you on the day, and just have your phone with your photograph, so that you remember. If you don't remember, if you've forgotten your mock up, just take photographs so that you can see what it is you're doing. I've done that as well, and that works really well. But yeah, so most importantly, just have fun, enjoy the process. You might enjoy it. Hopefully you will enjoy it. Hopefully you'll be successful, but not all markets are successful. I still have markets where I hardly sell anything, and I have other markets where I do really well. It can be the time of year, it can be the weather, and it can just be your audience as well, wherever you go. So just bear all that in mind. Give it a try and see how you get on. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video, and leave me a comment if you have found the tips useful, or if there's any questions. I've probably missed out some things, probably a lot of things. So if you've got any questions, or if there's something I've not thought of, just pop it in the comments and I'll try and get back to everyone that leaves a comment. And thanks for watching, and don't forget, like and subscribe, and if you want to see more content like this, and I'll hopefully see you again soon. Bye for now. Thank you. Bye.